One, two, one, two, one, two. Let's get with it.
Yes. Yes.
Cassie takes the stand day 3 or whatever day it is, and we are going to read up. We're going to catch up with the read. We're able to start from the beginning. We're going to read this like a nice, fun story. Okay? But before we do that, I want folks to understand what P. Diddy is being charged with. Let's go.
As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here the serial number has been thoroughly defaced. Another picture of more ammunition. The searches.
So, first of all, you need to understand what P. Diddy is on trial for. Before we read this Cassie stuff, I just want you to understand what P. Diddy is on trial for. Don't get caught up in the Cassie stuff. This is what he's on trial for.
As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here the serial number has been thoroughly defaced. Another picture of more ammunition and parts of 2 AR-15s right there. Now, I want to be clear about 2 things. First, this office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York. Second, we are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly. Anyone with information can call 1-877-4HSI-TIP. I want to express my deep appreciation for the victims and witnesses who have used their voices and helped bring this criminal conduct to light. We would not be here without them. I also want to thank the dedicated case agents on the HSI Trafficking in Person Squad in New York. They have been with us since day one and have worked tirelessly on this investigation. They will continue to be invaluable partners to us. I also want to thank the incredible agents and analysts.
Abuse that you say was recurrent and widely known. Why did it take law enforcement so long to intervene? How many women were victimized by Sean Combs, and how many others were involved?
Well, our investigation is ongoing. We are committed to bringing justice to everyone who's been victimized by the defendant. I can't tell you why it took so long. I think the better focus is on the fact that we are here today, and we are committed to making sure that justice is done. Next question.
Thank you. Julia Ainsley, NBC.
Thank you for doing this. You said we are not done and that Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
Janet Fisher, Newsday.
What's the difference between the sex trafficking and promoting travel for the purpose of prostitution?
Well, there are different crimes with different elements. I don't think we should get into the nitty-gritty of the legal discussion right now, but the sex trafficking, we believe, they're all serious offenses, but the sex trafficking conduct carries some significant penalties, and we are gratified that we were able to bring that charge.
One more coercive than the other?
I'm not going to be able to get into that, but you can look it up, and yes, sex trafficking, especially when it involves coercion or force, is a very...
So, I want you to understand, this is not about Cassie. We are about to read Cassie's cross-examination. But I wanted to play that so that you know this is not about Cassie, man. This is not about Cassie. Cassie is Sammy the Bull. Cassie is what you call Sammy the Bull Gravano. Okay? That's who Cassie is. And now, what you about to hear by me reading it, you about to hear Sammy the Bull Gravano testifying against John Gotti. Let's go. All right. Here we go, y'all. 5 hours ago, before the cross-examination, Cassie's lawyer says, I have a right to be a part of the meet and confer about which evidence she can be questioned about. She is the only victim witness that has standing under Rule 412. The judge says, we have to move forward. The judge says, any other issues? The federal attorney says, as we noted in our email to the court early this morning, the judicial documents are not being put in the public docket. We might get a sign from Ms. Estavo, who will cross-examine Cassie, that it's not an issue. The Fed attorney says the defense last night dumped 400 exhibits on us. This cannot continue throughout the course of the trial. So, what Diddy is doing, he's trying to bombard. P. Diddy and his lawyers, they're trying to bombard the prosecution with late information. So they're trying to bombard. The defense last night dumped 400 exhibits on us. And they had argued earlier in the week that, they're coming up with their exhibits and their information late. Okay? Diddy's lawyer says, Diddy's lawyer, Mr. Stavio, we have been working tirelessly in response to Mrs. Ventura's testimony. Okay? The judge says, Mr. Agnifilio, I thought you were going to take his off my plate. Combs attorney Agnifilo, I will keep trying. This is the main witness. She stands by herself. That said, we have been doing this all night until 3 a.m. We flagged exhibits for them. The Fed attorney says there are 24 exhibits that the government has objections to. They are listed in the chart. The judge says, just the ones in the chart? Again, these are the judicial documents that are not going into the public docket. Not the case in many Southern District of New York trials. So this doesn't happen often in many Southern District of New York trials. The judge says, bring the jury in. So, Diddy's lawyer says, Cassie, you love Mr. Combs, correct? Cassie says, I did. The lawyer asks, for 11 years you took care of him? Cassie says, in some ways. You called him larger than life? I did. Others call him Diddy or Puff Daddy, but you called him Sean, right? Yes. You knew a version of him the rest of the world couldn't see, right? Objection. Overruled. Yes. I did know a version of him that the world couldn't see. Diddy's attorney asked Cassie, you kept coming back to him for 11 years. Cassie says, I wouldn't say coming back. You believed he loved you too? I did believe he loved me too. So when he cheated on you, it hurt? Not every time. Diddy's lawyer brings up a defense exhibit. Objection, not in the evidence. So here they go. They're trying to spring up late evidence. They're trying to spring up late evidence, okay? So they're trying to spring up late evidence on Diddy. Hold on one second. Just make sure everything's up. All right, let's go. Matter of fact, I would like to put that picture back on the guns, because this is the trial right here. This is the P. Diddy. This is the evidence right here. Not anything else that we're reading besides how Cassie is a Sammy the Bull. So we're watching Sammy the Bull testify against John Gotti. Let's go. That's true. This is not in the evidence, the judge says. Diddy's lawyer asked Cassie, Miss Ventura, read it just, no. Yeah, Diddy's lawyer asked Miss Ventura, read it just to yourself. Why did you send this message? To let him know I was going to dinner. What was going on when these messages were sent? I'm not sure. What was going on in your relationship then? It was early. We were loving. I offer it, is what Diddy's attorney says. And the Fed say, objection, being offered for the truth, overruled. Please read. Ventura, I wrote, I love you, smiley face. I'll fly anywhere for you. I love you, Cass. This 2009 email. Objection, hearsay. The judge says to Diddy's lawyer, ask more questions. Diddy's lawyer asks, from BlackBerry, what is BG, baby girl? What did you write? You hungry, Pop Pop? And Mr. Combs wrote to you, we are so in love, we don't do anything else. How long had you been seeing each other? Like 2.5 years. Please read this, 1364. I haven't talked to you at all. You don't even try. You rush me off the phone. I'm really hurt. I don't need your money. I need some attention. You wanted special time with Diddy? Yes. You testified that you told him, I love you so much. You make me a better woman. I definitely wrote those messages. You wrote, I can't wait until we have a baby of our own. You knew that he had 6 children at the time, right? Yes. So now, these messages about freak off, when you say you know it doesn't matter to me, you mean weekend or weekday. Either is fine. That's what it says, Cassie said. Diddy says, maybe we can just call Jules. Can you do it? Yes. Oh boy, this guy Jules' name keeps coming up. Diddy lawyer asks, this was an explicit message from you about the anticipated upcoming freak off. Objection. Okay. Okay. So something happened, and then the judge said, you may proceed. So she asked Cassie, Miss Ventura, this is from Mr. Combs to you. You respond with an extremely explicit message, right? She says, yes. This is 2 days after planning a freak off, right? Cassie says, yes. He said, I want to see you. How did you reply? Cassie said, I can't wait either. You wrote, I feel like I want to fuck, right? That's what it says. Oh boy, Cassie getting upset. That's what it says. Mr. Combs says, I'm so horny I can't concentrate. What do you say, Cassie? Cassie says that I'll go to Dwayne Reed for candles and then set up the room. Did you understand that he was going to take another video of you? Objection, speculation. So he said, the judge said, you can move on. And then they asked Cassie, you asked any pills on you? Uh-oh. They asked Cassie, Diddy asked Cassie, no, Cassie asked Diddy, did you have any pills on you? Diddy's lawyer says, what pills were you taking then? Cassie says, opiates. Now remember, what's on the screen is the United States versus Sean Combs. This is about guns and drugs. I don't know what's going on with Diddy's attorneys, but they are trying to place drugs on Diddy. I don't know what's the point of it, but hey, this is not about Cassie. Anyway, let's go. You deleted the videos on your devices, right, Cassie? She said, yes. What did you write? That I need to feel this. This is my husband, the only one who will see this side of me. Diddy lawyer asked Cassie, were you afraid of Mr. Combs? Were you afraid that Mr. Combs was only seeing you for sex in this way? That was a concern. You still were not public in your relationship with him, correct? Were freak-offs important? It was integral to us. Who was at your 21st birthday party in Las Vegas, Cassie? Britney Spears. There we got a new name, Britney Spears. Britney Spears, Dallas, Austin. How did you get them there? They came for Diddy. You're very beautiful and charming. Thank you. It's true. This is what the lawyer's saying to her, but it's a female lawyer. Who is Tommy Mottola? Here we go. More names. Who is Tommy Mottola? A well-known producer. You were an up-and-coming star. I guess you could say that. After you signed with Bad Boy, things were still platonic? Yes. You had a rough performance one time, Cassie. 106 in Park. It did not go well for me. How did he help you after that? We did a YouTube video. He said everybody makes mistakes. What was wrong? I couldn't hear myself. Diddy lawyer asks, you were dating Mr. Leslie. Ryan Leslie. How much older than you was he? So she was 10 years older than Ryan Leslie? What? Anyway, then you traveled to Miami with Mr. Combs. The flyer of the event was just a cover to spend time with Mr. Combs, right? That's true. You had a tattoo of Mr. Leslie's initials on your body, right? Yes. How many tattoos did you have then? Objection, relevance. Overruled. Let's keep it moving. I had 3. The one on your arm. No regrets. That's what she says. So, Diddy's lawyer asked Cassie, Mr. Combs taught you how to do oral sex. He did. Look at this. Tell me when you're ready. Can you read it? Cassie says, you can read it. It's making me laugh. It's from 2007. You wrote, I feel protected. You are sweet. Diddy's lawyer says, you wrote, I see that Carrie is better fitting for you. I'm hurt that you think I'm malicious. You're very important to me. X, Cass. Cassie laughs. What were you trying to convey? It's like a journal entry. Diddy lawyer asks Cassie, you discussed Kerry Morgan. Did you think Mr. Combs was attracted to her? There was a point in the very beginning. Did that complication carry on in your relationships? Not really. Kerry was just always with us. Okay? That was then. Let's go to the next one. This is a lot. Hold on. Okay. That I went up too far. I went to 1 hour ago. We still in the morning session. We're still before lunch. We're still before lunch, man. Or maybe not. They took a recess after we read, and then they came back. And then they talk about the rough performance on 106 in Park. And then you discuss Kerry Morgan. Okay, so we're caught up. That was 3 hours ago. Now we got to go to 2 hours ago. All right, 1 second. Here we go. Oh boy, here we go. It's starting to get there. Oh boy, here we go. They asked Cassie, "I'd like to start asking you about the freak-offs. Sometimes you wore a wig and a mask." Yes. The general public did not know. Objection. Rephrase the question. No one knew until November 2023 in the public. Yes. So it's fair to say his career was ruined after your lawsuit. Cassie says, "I can understand that." Let's read these messages Mr. Combs wrote. When are you on your period? No, now. What you be thinking about when you're horny? And then Diddy lawyer asks her, "Miss Ventura, if you don't want to read the answers, I can read them." And Cassie says, "Thank you." Oh boy, here we go. So Cassie does not want to read it now. The O has lots of O's after them, right? She says, "Yes." After a freak off, you make love with with Diddy? Yes. Your period. Mr. Combs is asking when you're on it, right? She says, "Yeah." He's asking in context of when to meet up and have sex. Cassie says, "Looks like it." Sometimes you watch him with a female. Cassie says, "Yes, 2 or 3 times." Did you talk with Diddy about the swingers lifestyle? That no one talks of. What? She said the first rule of Fight Club is nobody talks about Fight Club. Oh boy. So, were you keeping freak off secret from your friends? Yes. His assistants help him with everything. Cassie, you would remember if an assistant came in during one of your sessions with an escort? She said, "Not necessarily, I was high, so you don't remember much." I had my privacy invaded a lot during that relationship. This is from July 2012. You say, "Diddy, I'm horny and bored. This was after a freak off, right?" Cassie says, there are a lot of text here. Said to be 25 pages. Okay, so she has 25 pages of text. Okay? So, a different lawyer steps in now for the feds and says, "I would ask the witness be allowed to read the entire document." How many pages? The judge asks. Diddy's lawyer says 8. The feds say, "We don't have a copy for the witness." Diddy's lawyer say, "We'll show it on the screen, but not in the public gallery." So now they're asking Cassie more questions. You said Diddy often put you down, but he also sent you encouragement and called you a queen, right? Cassie said yes. They asked for a sidebar. Now they come back. What would trigger Diddy insistent calls to you? Cassie says anger. I doubt about where I was. If he suspected you cheated, he'd call you incessantly, right? That was one of the reasons, because he thought, objection. You can't lead the witness. Do you believe Diddy has good taste? I think he does. He's had an impact on fashion. People like his style, Sean John. Did you consult with him on your look? Sometimes I got advice I didn't even ask for. He still ran his companies even while having all these freak offs, right? He did. What was he addicted to? Success. What substances? Opiates. Yes, he told me. And I saw him. Did Diddy's mood depend on whether or not he was withdrawing from opiates? He was more irritable, I would say. What other drugs was Diddy addicted to? Objection, no foundation. I'll ask if I want the grounds. You don't tell me what's foundation. The judge says, sustain, rephrase. What was his drug of choice? Ecstasy or MDMA? Opiates daily? When he was doing them? You saw him withdraw? Yes. Now, remember, Brian Turner, what's good, King? Cassie already filed the civil suit, and now she's trying to throw this nigga in prison. No way. Brian Turner, look at the screen, Brian Turner. Brian Turner, matter of fact, take this ride with me, Brian Turner. Diddy has guns, right? Take this ride with me. Let's say Diddy is John Gotti. Cassie is Sammy the Bull. She witnessed all his stuff. Diddy is on trial for guns and racketeering and things of that nature. Yes, they talking about the sex trafficking, but look at what Diddy's lawyer just did. Look at this. Look at what she did. She's trying to make a case of what was Diddy addicted to. See, they're fighting a drug case here, brother. See, don't get caught up in the Cassie stuff. Look what Diddy's lawyer's doing right here. What was Diddy addicted to? So then he's trying to say Diddy was not a drug dealer. What was Diddy addicted to? He was a heavy user. Listen to how Diddy's trying to fight these drug cases. Listen. He still ran these companies while having all these freak offs, right? He did. What was he addicted to? Success. What substances? Opiates. Yes, he told me and I saw it. Did Mr. Combs' mood depend on whether or not he was withdrawing from opiates? He was more irritable, I would say. What other drugs was Mr. Combs addicted to? Objection, no foundation. Rephrase. What was his drug of choice? Ecstasy or MDMA? Opiates daily? When he was doing them, did you see him withdraw? Yes. So they're trying to make the case that Diddy is not a drug dealer. See, this ain't about Cassie. They're fighting a RICO, dog. They're fighting these guns and these drugs. Okay? And they're mixing in the sex trafficking. Okay? So this right here establishes that even though she's Sammy the Bull and she saw him with them guns with the serial number scratched off, she's also Sammy the Bull that knows he was addicted to drugs, not a drug dealer. So that's good. That's good for Diddy. She's trying to say he has a criminal enterprise. Right. Basically a drug dealer. Don't know if they can pin him. Well, let me ask you this question, BT. Let me ask you this question, man. I appreciate you texting in. Do you think having 3 guns with the serial numbers scratched off is a crime? That's what I want to know. Because maybe I don't know. Maybe 3 guns with the serial number scratched off with a 50 shot, 2 50 shot drums. Matter of fact, hold on.
Items that we recovered during the searches. As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here, the serial number has been thoroughly defaced.
What is that a crime? You tell me. You tell me, is that a crime? to have the guns with the serial numbers scratched off. I have always thought that was a crime. Because my thing was, okay, you got the serial number scratched off. That means it's not a registered gun. So the question is, where did you get those guns from? Diddy is not snitching. He's not taking a plea. I don't know, man. Like I say, is the serial number scratched off a gun a crime? Federal crime. Okay? Now, Diddy's lawyer is fighting the drug stuff. They're doing a good job about this drug stuff. He is a drug user. So the judge said that they took a break. And the judge says, where are we in your cross-examination? We have a lot of exhibits. Let me confer over lunch. Judge non-responsive. Will you finish today or early tomorrow? Diddy's lawyer say to the end of tomorrow. They are working Cassie like a mule. We might not be able to finish tomorrow. This is the most important witness. Yes, this is Sammy the Bull. The judge says, for months we said, this witness had to be off the stand by the end of the week. The feds say, our direct was a day and a half. Limit them to that. Uh-oh. The judge says, show Cassie the exhibits in advance. Maybe just ask her questions rather than these exhibits. We have a timing concern. That's how it happens in court sometimes. They'll just rush your case, man, whatever. So Diddy's lawyer says they called 2 witnesses to start. That wasn't our choice. It's a critically important witness. Judge says streamline things. So then they came back at 1:10. Diddy's lawyer has the witness had the chance to review the exhibits? Feds say they are lengthy. Judge says, we'll do the best that we can. I was told this witness would be off the stand by the end of the week. We let the jury go early yesterday. Yes, they cut it short like 40 minutes. It was crazy. The judge says, if there's something that really needs to be done on cross after lunch tomorrow, I may allow it. May means must. We have overtime leave time for redirect. This witness is being responsive. Cassie enters. The jury enters. Let's go to the hard drive. The feds say, it's not in the evidence yet. Diddy's lawyer says, so, okay, B14, page 3 and 4, you wrote, I love our FOs when we both won it. You felt that? Cassie says loving FOs were just words at that point. Diddy's lawyer says, Mr. Combs wrote to you, I want to freak out right now. And you wrote that you wanted it too. LOL, me too. Cassie says, I text more than that. The lawyer says, but you did text that to him. Diddy wrote to you, Jules is available if you're into it. Oh boy. You could have said yes or no, Cassie. You said love you. There was no yes or no. Okay. Bring up B420 and on page 2. Diddy wrote, do I have your permission to set up Freaky Fun? You wrote ovulation. Cassie says, yes, I did. The Fed says, what do you say? Cassie says, I asked which hotel. I must have called him in between. I don't want to assume anything. He said the montage. You said you could also go to the pleasure chest. What would you get there? Sexual supplies. What supplies? Lubricants, outfits. The lawyer asks or says, he says, have fun, impress me. You say, okay. He says, can we kiss a lot? What do you say? Yes. You wrote, I left the iPad. Whoa. I don't, and Cassie says, I don't know whose iPad this meant. What? Hold on. Let's play this again. Miss Diddy wrote to you, I want to freak out right now. And you wrote to that you wanted it too. I text more than that. but you did text that to him. Diddy wrote to you, Jules is available if you're into it. What? So let me get this straight. So Diddy said he wants to freak out. She said her too. Diddy set her up with Jules so they could, and then she went and bought toys and outfits so they could make a video that Diddy could watch because Diddy said be proud. Let's read this. You could have said yes or no, and you said love you. There was no yes or no. Bring up page 2. Mr. Combs wrote, do I have your permission to set up freaky fun? You wrote ovulation. Here, what do you say? I asked which hotel. I must have called him in between. I don't want to assume anything. He said montage. You said you could also go to the pleasure chest. What would you get there? Sexual supplies. What supplies? Lubricants, outfits. He says, have fun, impress me. What? What does that mean? Brian Turner. I doubt he admits where the guns originated from. Plus, they still haven't pinned whether or not he's a drug user or dealer. Well, they definitely got him as a drug user right now. Cassie, who is Sammy the Bull, she says he's a drug user. So that's good. Wow. Mr. Combs wrote, I'll be right there after my session. This was in June 2017. Do you remember arguments you were having at that time? Not specifically. Here you say the game starts at 10 p.m. No break in character to 8 a.m. Cassie says, this was a game a friend of mine told me, a way to rekindle your romance. They asked Cassie by doing something different in the bedroom. Cassie says it's a whole getting into character thing. They asked Cassie, she said to Cassie, Mr. Combs says, let's get some outfits and go to the sex club. Diddy's lawyer says, Diddy wrote, surprise package coming from out of state. Why can't I reach you? What do you say? Cassie said, I was getting my brows done. Did you come to know Mr. Combs was leaving to freak off to go see Kim Porter? Oh. Rest in peace, Sister Kim. Rest in peace. Did you come to know Mr. Combs was leaving to freak off to go see Kim Porter? Yes. How did you find out about Gina? How did you feel? Did it upset you? Yes. It prompted arguments? It did. And he thought you were not faithful. What were his reactions? It was very scary. Mr. Combs wrote to you, let's do something different in NYC this weekend. For your information, Dave hit me. What does that mean? Reached out. And they say to Cassie, and Daniel contacted you. Did this mean you might have a freak off? Might. He tells you, you better put me on VIP vibrate alarm or something. He's frustrated you don't answer his text fast enough. Right. You tell him come to NYC understanding there could be a freak off. Maybe. You also saw the Book of Mormon. Yes. Mass Pleasure. Is that a sex club? I would assume. He asks, are you ready for tonight? What do you say? She says, yes. I just have to get some things. Cassie, that might be a skip. Cassie said, this is not about what I felt, right? Because you are skipping all over a lot here. What did you write? As much as you think you're Bruce Willis, you're not. Kids were babies when we started dating. Oh boy, here we go. Now we're at 59 minutes. 59 minutes, BT. If you saw Diddy on social media on vacation with, it was heartbreaking, right? She said, yeah, it could be. I was 7 years in. And what about this Gina you wrote? I don't want to be a side piece, but I'll treat you as a king. You wanted to be the main girlfriend. In 2013, yes. You saw a social media post of Diddy with other girlfriends and got angry, right? Cassie says, can I speak? I was jealous of certain situations. Did they come a time he suspected you were in a relationship with someone in the industry, Mr. McCuddy? Yes. Mr. Combs thought it would be good for your career if you collaborated with Mr. Cuddy or whatever. She said yes. Why did you begin your relationship with Mr. Cuddy? We enjoyed each other's company. You were in a relationship with Diddy. We were on break, but you were still doing freak offs with him, right? Yes. After Combs found out by going through your phone, you went to see him. You knew he was upset. He previously attacked you. Cassie said yes. I thought I'd be safer with other people there. The judge took a break 46 minutes ago, and then they came back 31 minutes ago at 2:38. All right. The judge says, okay, let's get Cassie back in. Your affair with Mr. Cuddy was only a month long. Sorry about that. I thought it was getting freaky. Your affair with Mr. Cuddy was only a month long, but you got a burner phone for it, right? Yes. Mr. Combs kicked you in the back. Yes. This came up later in your relationship that you had cheated on him with Kid Cudi, right? He brought it up quite a bit. When he cheated, he said, well, you had an affair with Kid Cudi, right? She said, sometimes. Put this on mute. He suspected you of having an affair with another person in the industry when you were in South Africa filming, right? She said, yes, honey. On Honey 3. While you were there, you saw a photo of Mr. Combs and Gina, and you were irate, right? She says, angry. You blocked him and focused on the movie, right? I tried my best. Mr. Combs suspected you of a relationship with whom? Michael B. Jordan. We got another name, Michael B. Jordan. Diddy is tied into everybody, man. You sent video not only to Diddy but also to staff. Who? D-Rock? She said yes. You sent it to them because you were angry with all of them. I was hurt. I spent all my time with them. You thought they were in on it, right? Hold on, y'all. That was 22 minutes ago. Hold on. That was let me refresh. That was 22 minutes ago. We're catching all the way up. This is Diddy's cross-examination of Cassie. Diddy's trying to prove that he's not a drug dealer. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan. You send a video not only to Diddy but also to staff. Who? D-Rock. You sent it to them because you were angry with all of them, right? I was hurt. I spent all my time with them. You thought they were in on it, right? And then she asked Cassie again, the physical abuse. When did your father learn about it? Cassie said the same time as my mother. Did Diddy come to Connecticut and speak to your parents? I don't know. If it was, then that's what they have written here. I don't know. Kerry Morgan knew about the abuse. Yes. The eyebrow gash incident. What was it about? Because I didn't answer the phone and went to sleep. I was supposed to be packing for a trip. He was inebriated? I don't remember that. See, they're trying to make sure Diddy is a drug user. You hear me? That bitch was saying he got illegal prescriptions and all that stuff the other day. They got to make sure that everyone knows Diddy is a drug user to get some of this RICO shit down. Why were you asleep? I had a drink at the Abbey. Had something in it, I think. Oh, boy. Did Mr. Combs ever abuse you while he was inebriated, then say he didn't remember it? Yes. Did you feel he was not taking responsibility? Listen, this lawyer's doing a good job, okay? To make sure that Diddy is not being implicated as a damn drug seller. See, all of this is about showing that Diddy is a drug user. He can get upset. He can have withdrawals. He can get irate. Did he abuse you while he was on drugs? She said yes. Did Diddy ever abuse you while he was inebriated, then say he didn't remember it? Yes. Did you feel he was not taking responsibility? Yes. For drugs, you both go to rehab. Rehab wasn't really a thing during our relationships. The freak-offs were an opportunity for you to take drugs together? Yes. See? They're making sure that Diddy is established as a drug user, not some Rico drug trafficker. So that's good. You went a lot to Burning Man. Yes. Did you ever call yourselves Get High partners? We did. Did you take drugs from him without knowing it? Yes. What? Did you take drugs from him without him knowing it? I don't like that part. I don't know, but it shows that they're both drug users, but he has more than her where she has to take it. But anyway, what was his reaction? Explosive. Did he tell LA dealers not to deal to you? Cassie said yes. Now, that's good for Diddy. You know, she's saying that did he tell LA dealers, meaning he's not the dealer, did he tell LA dealers not to deal to you? She said yes. So they're trying to establish that Diddy is not a dealer. Okay? That's what's happening here. Am I hope I'm not missing too much. But anyway, let me refresh one time, make sure I'm not missing it. Yeah, so Diddy is not a drug dealer by Cassie's own admission. I could tell you that. Did you ever call yourself the Get High partners? Okay. You told Miss Coram that you learned only after the fact that Mr. Combs had dangled Miss Bongolan off the balcony. I'm not sure. Were you on drugs? I'm not sure. You got a life coach for your drug use according to this document. I don't know who that person is. You were doing a lot of drugs, right? It was a rough time. You know? And that's where we at. We are all caught up. That was, well, not yet. That's 2 minutes ago. Something might have came out seconds ago. Hold on. We're 2 minutes caught up. You got a life coach for drug use according to this document, right? I don't know who that person is. You were doing a lot of drugs, right? It was a rough time, Cassie says. And that's where we are. So, Diddy's lawyer is trying to establish that, no, I am not a drug dealer at all. Very important, man, because they're trying to have Diddy for moving drugs all over the U.S. So hopefully, you know, I mean, he's not a drug dealer. I mean, we all know that, right? But he does have these guns. And let me show you what this guy said. Let me show you what this Fed said back then, because y'all kind of forgetting. Hold on.
So you think you know Wix, but do you really? First up, we've got
To the victims to keep them obedient, that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about as alleged in the indictment. To carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery,
So, you have bribery, forced labor. You know, they stacked up a lot of charges so that something can stick, but they know that they have the guns.
As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant.
See that? So they're trying to establish, no, we are not drug dealers. You understand? They're not fighting against this Cassie stuff. They're fighting against Cassie being like Sammy the Bull Gravano trying to take down John Gotti. That's what this is. Okay, we got an update. You tried to get into rehab, the Golden Door. Cassie says it was a spa. There was a time I lost all sense of smell and taste and woke up in the hospital with an IV in my arm. Then I tried to get help. So this lawyer is establishing that, look, these are two get high partners. There is no drug racketeering. That's what they're trying to establish here. Okay? Don't get caught up in the sex trafficking stuff.
That used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant.
For things to change, you gotta change. Everybody wants things to change, but that's not how it works.
As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims. And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance.
Now remember, all of that is surface level. That's surface level stuff. They don't care if he makes it off or on that. This is what they know they have him on.
Freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether. Here are some of the items that we recovered during the searches. As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here, the serial number has been thoroughly defaced. Another picture of more ammunition, and parts of 2 AR-15s right there.
Now, you are not supposed to have that stuff, homie. You gotta understand this. You cannot just have guns with no serial number. Let's get an update. Here we go. You tried to go into the rehab, the Golden Door. Cassie says it was a spa. There was a time I lost all sense of smell and taste and woke up in the hospital with an IV in my arm. I've tried then to get help. They asked Cassie, the time after San Bernardino, you learned that he had overdosed. See? You see what I'm saying? They're trying to establish that Diddy is not a drug seller. Don't get caught up in this trafficking stuff. You know, sex. They're trying to establish that Diddy is not a drug seller. That's what this is, King. The time after that, San Bernardino, you learned that he had overdosed. Cassie said, a very strong opiate. Yes. Were you ever not addicted to painkillers? We took Ibogaine. I don't know what that is. Where did you get it? Cancun, Mexico, separately. See? This is crazy, man. This is crazy. Hold on. They're trying to make sure that Diddy is a drug user, right? But then they say, hey, so you were in San Bernardino, but you took some other painkillers. Where did you get it? She said Mexico. So she brought the drugs back. This is crazy. Like I said, this is Sammy the Bull Gravano talking about John Gotti. So she transported drugs from Mexico to the U.S. That's what that just said. Wow. This is crazy. Because Diddy is fighting that he is not a drug dealer. Okay? At the same time, Cassie is admitting, yo, he's a drug user. He had an overdose. He took strong opiates. He does this. He does that. But I went to Mexico and transported drugs back into the U.S. This is crazy. She should have said, I went to Mexico to get it for him. Like, this is crazy. But I would say that Diddy's lawyer, he's doing a good job, or they're doing a good job establishing, hey, this man is not a drug dealer. Unless something turns. What time is it? 3 o'clock? They got some time left, but something would have to turn. Something would have to dramatically turn to establish that he is not a drug user. That they established that that man has a drug problem. And so does she. There was a time I lost all sense and smell and taste and woke up in a hospital with an IV in my arm. I've tried then to get help. So these are two get high partners, drug users. Okay? They've established that pretty well. No update yet. No update yet.
He and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims and giving them a false narrative of what they had experienced. And as alleged, Combs used others to help conceal his abuse by monitoring and preventing victims from leaving a location in order to hide their injuries, or by locating and contacting a victim who had attempted to flee. As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large-capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether. Here are some of the items that we recovered during the searches. As you can see here, this is a drum magazine.
Let's get back to the update. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Yeah, man. Like I said, this is going to be a long trial, dog. That man's fighting against the RICO. This is like a John Gotti trial. It's basically, they said she's like the only witness. She's like either the most important or the only witness. And I unless D-Rock's gonna, they call D-Rock. If the government's only calling Cassie, okay, and already they got her, they've definitely established her as a drug user. Her and Diddy together. They both have anger. So now Diddy, in the defense, they get to just call all of the witnesses that they want. After this, because I don't know how many witnesses the prosecution has. They said she's the most important or the only witness. Here we go. We got an update. They asked Cassie, when Mr. Combs threw you off the boat in Cannes, or Kane, whatever, wherever that's at, when he accused you of taking drugs and squeezed your leg, Cassie said yes, among other things. They said, but you still wanted to be with him. She says, I did. And they're trying to establish, look, Cassie, you are on drugs. So, you know, I don't know, man. My whole story is, how are they gonna, get out of these guns? That's what I want to know. Cassie is not finishing today. She has a whole lot of work to do. They are not finishing with this witness today. Maybe I could read back through some other stuff. They asked Cassie, you sent video not only to Diddy, but also to staff. Who, D-Rock? Cassie said, yes. You sent it to them because you were angry with all of them. Yes, I was hurt. I spend all my time with them. See? That's pretty damning, right? You thought they were in on it, right? So, that's wild. So you sent the video to the whole crew. You was threatening everybody, right? You was angry with everyone, right? So you're here because you're angry with everyone, right? So they're trying to discredit her, but like I say, I don't know how they get around these guns. But anyway, the eyebrow gash incident, what was it about? Because I didn't answer the phone and went to sleep. I was supposed to be packing for a trip. Was he inebriated? She doesn't remember. Why were you asleep? A drink at the Abbey had something in it, I think. Did Mr. Combs ever abuse you while he was inebriated, then say he didn't remember it? Yes. Did you feel he was not taking responsibility? Yes. For drugs or the rehab? Rehab wasn't a thing. We was just always high. The freak-offs were an opportunity for you to take drugs together, right? Yes. You went a lot to Burning Man, right? Yes. Did you ever call yourselves Get High partners? Yes. Did you take drugs from him without him knowing it? Yes. Did he tell LA dealers not to deal drugs to you? Yes. Uh, so yeah, a lot of drug use. Okay. You tried to get into rehab, the Golden Door. It was a spa. I lost all sense of smell and taste and woke up in a hospital with an IV in my arm. I tried then to get help. The time after that, you learned Diddy had overdosed too, right? Yes. Were you ever not addicted to painkillers? We took Ibogaine. Where did you get it? Cancun. My goodness. Sheesh. When Diddy threw you off the boat, he accused you of taking drugs and squeezed your leg, right? She said yes, amongst other things. But you still wanted to be with him, right? Yes. You were stealing the man drugs. Oh, they have like, yo, they have an ad. They have an ad here. Whatever the drug is, Ibogaine addresses Parkinson's, PTSD, addiction, depression, and anxiety by targeting key brain symptoms, dopamine and serotonin. Exploring the potential of Ibogaine treatment for Parkinson's disease. Wow. Yo, these people taking some serious drugs, kid. Sheesh. Damn. Damn. Here we go. Switching topics. Here we go. The lawyer says, switching topics. When you say Diddy went, here we go. This is what I'm talking about. The guns, y'all. The guns. Here we go. Switching topics. When you say Diddy went with guns to find Suge Knight, do you remember telling the government that you did go with them? No. Let me show you. The feds say just for the parties. So they don't want the public to see this. Switching topics. When you say Diddy went with guns to find Suge Knight, do you remember telling the government that you did go with them that night? No, I do not remember telling them. Let me show you. Oh boy. This is my part, y'all. This is my part. I'm into how they are gonna wiggle out of this gun stuff. So this is what I've been waiting for. Let me get myself together, B. This is my part, King. Let me get my shit together now. Hold on. Hold on, man.
Hey. Now, a woman that got a job walk, with security. Am I right or wrong? You know what I'm saying? They walk in the nightclub going, honey, I don't give a fuck about me, nobody, nowhere. Because I'm going to the credit union tomorrow. I don't need nobody to tell me shit. I buy my own damn shit. That's right. And that's the kind I want to meet.
All right. Here we go. Let's cook. This is the most. I don't know how far they're gonna go into this, but this is important, man. When you say Mr. Combs went with guns to find Suge Knight, do you remember telling the government that you did go with them? No, let me show you. Okay. Cassie says, I did not go with them, so I don't think I said that. They asked Cassie, you also did drugs with Miss Morgan, right? She said, yes. Do you recall telling the government that you did not set what he did, hitting her in the head with a wooden hanger? Let me reread that. Do you recall telling the government that you did not that you did not say what he did, hitting her in the head with a wooden hanger? Oh boy. Oh boy. What does this mean? Hold on, man. I'm trying to get to the guns. They playing Diddy's lawyer. They better get with it, man. When you said they went with the guns, you went with them. I did not go with them, so I don't think I said that. You also did drugs with Miss Morgan, right? Yes. Do you recall telling the government that you did not say what he did, hitting her in the head with a wooden hanger? Cassie says, I saw the hanger. I saw he was angry that I was doing drugs with Kerry. This broke up your 17-year friendship with her. Yeah, it did. Did you tell Diddy about your relationship with your now husband? No. I don't know, guys. You guys tell me. What is Diddy's lawyer doing? What is Diddy's lawyer doing? Don't make damn sense. What is Diddy's lawyer doing? Let me reread this. So you went to the guns, but you did not tell the government. Let me show you that you told the government that you did go with them. Okay. That still places guns with Diddy. Okay. I did not go with them. You also did drugs with Miss Morgan, right? Do you recall telling the government that you did not say what he did, hitting her in the head with a wooden hanger? I saw the hanger. I saw he was angry because I was doing drugs with Kerry. This broke up your 17-year friendship with her, right? It did. Did you tell Diddy about your relationship with your now husband? No. Like I said, man, sounds like Sammy the Bull Gravano to me. This is somebody that's just willing to, honestly, just turn on you, man. She's willing to, embellish and everything else. This is like Sammy the Bull turning on John Gotti. This is like Nino Brown, just turning on everything. Because she was there. She did all of this. She let Diddy hit her friend in the head with a hanger. She left her friend. And now she's turning on the mob. This is crazy. I want to know about the guns. Miss Morgan sued you and Mr. Combs, right? She made a demand, and you paid part of that, right? I did. And you haven't spoken with her since, right? Maybe one text. That was the relationship ender. Yes. Damn. Kerry Morgan sued their asses or did the same thing Cassie's doing to Diddy. Crazy work. Crazy work. You don't find this everywhere. Like, this is like a Sammy the Bull type thing. This is serious. The inner workings of the enterprise. Allegedly. Let me get an update. No update right now. It's almost 4 o'clock.
Large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here the serial number has been thoroughly defaced. Another picture of more ammunition and parts of 2 AR-15s right there. Now, I want to be clear about 2 things. First, this office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages career prosecutors from SDNY who are handling this case. I'll now take some questions.
Eric Katursky, ABC.
Thanks, Nick. Damian, thanks. The indictment describes aggressive, open, violent, hedonistic abuse that you say was recurrent and widely known. Why did it take law enforcement so long to intervene? How many women were victimized by Sean Combs, and how many others were involved?
Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
Jenna Fisher, Newsday.
What's the difference between the sex trafficking and promoting travel for the purpose of prostitution?
Well, there are different crimes with different elements. I don't think we should get into the nitty-gritty of the legal discussion right now, but the sex trafficking, we believe, they're all serious offenses, but the sex trafficking conduct carries some significant penalties, and we are gratified that we were able to bring that charge.
One more coercive than the other?
I'm not going to be able to get into that, but you can look it up, and yes, sex trafficking, especially when it involves coercion or force, is a very serious crime, and it carries significant penalties.
Good afternoon, Darla Miles, ABC 7 New York. Thank you for this press conference and for the details. 2 questions. In context of this indictment and the information that was presented to the grand jury, are you able to clarify the number of victims? It's mentioned plural in the indictment, but can you specify the number of victims just for this particular indictment? And secondly, can you provide details about the alleged arson?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide either. The number of victims, you are correct. We are intentional in saying multiple. The details of the arson incident are limited to what we have in the indictment and also the detention letter that we filed, which contains more details than the indictment does at various points, but we don't have anything more beyond that.
Make it Corpay One and done smarter. The one card that fills multiple roles, which means
Be other charges related.
Investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information narrative of what they had experienced. He and others pressured witnesses and victims.
Let's get an update. Nothing yet, man. I believe I might do this. It's funny because stuff be heating up after I get off of it, but I got other stuff to do. I want to do a different show at about 4 and change. This guy Diddy got way more to worry about than some damn Cassie. Here we go. We got the update. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. Cassie, you would heat up the baby oil? Yes. Now, is this from the day before the Intercontinental incident? The feds say this is a long document. We need time to read it. So Diddy's lawyer, they're throwing some curveballs. They're introducing late documents. They're not playing. I don't know how we get to this. You would heat up the baby oil. I don't know. That's where we are. You would heat up the baby oil. Cassie says yes. Now, is this the day before the Intercontinental Hotel incident? The Fed says this is a long document. We need time to read it, so they might need time. They might need some time. Anyway, I'll get back to the rest of that later. I have a different stream I need to do. I need to teach my class. All right, so I'll be back.